Hi guys, you haven't seen us in a very long time, in a couple of years, and there are some good reasons for that. We're gonna talk a bit about in this video what happened over the last few years, where are we now, and where is this channel going? Maria, what happened a couple of years ago?
We had to move, so we bought a house. We couldn't really keep staying where we lived because there was so much traffic noise. So what we figured is that we made a rational choice of a place that we should move to, and I think some of what crept in was also the norm, or like an unspoken thing about when you have a kid, you must have a house and a garden.
Yeah.
No one specifically said that, but it was just how we felt.
Yeah, we've been in the same apartment for what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And it was getting too small.
It was getting too small, as Maria said. And there were also other reasons why we wanted to move, because a lot of our friends move into houses. You probably experienced that yourself if you are in a similar place in your life. And we just been thinking going forth and back on, should we move into a house, because we've been in this apartment for so long. So finally we decided to actually buy a house.
Yeah, and it was a very rational decision and a lot of pros and cons. And
a lot of lists.
And we did do it, and we bought a house. It was not far from where we lived before. It took about 35 minutes to drive. So for those of you watching from the States, you'll be like, that's nothing. But in Denmark, it is something, because the distances are much smaller. Well, we did buy this house. It was a fixer-upper. We pretty much needed to fix everything, and I think that's one of the first mistakes that we made. I think
we couldn't move into it right away. We just spent like a month painting everything and doing the floors, so there was just a very quick fix to be able to at least move in. And then we redid the whole basement.
It was 900 square feet in floor, like surface area,
so
but then we added the basement, so we actually had almost 180 square meters.
Yeah, we had a pretty high ceiling in the basement, and we did 2 YouTube studios down there because I do YouTube as well. If you want to check out that channel, it's called Passive Income Geek, where I share about how we make money and how we built the GoDownsize site. So we needed some good space for that, and we also did a huge terrace.
We did the best terrace. It's like the terrace of my dreams. That thing, I'm still sad that we don't have anymore. We built huge sliding doors. We built a huge deck. It was on a slanted plot, so we had quite a good view. So that's the part that had good light.
In many ways it was a really good house, and we made the best of it. But
we were just not thriving at all. Mentally we were not doing super. I was not doing super. I was really struggling. You too, but not as obviously.
No, I could probably have made it work, but after a year,
that's when I was like, I just don't think I'm ever gonna love living here. Or something like that. And it's not that you necessarily have to love where you live. A house can be a house, and it's fine, but there were a lot of factors that kind of measured into it. So we decided to make a change. We decided that we didn't want to have that house. We didn't want to keep doing renovations. We didn't want to keep, because we hadn't even done the kitchen or the roof or anything like that.
We also didn't want to mow the lawn, and there was also a pool we fixed. So there was just a lot of maintenance on that house, and just fixing all these everyday things that you have to do when you own a house. It's just a lot of things. So moving back into an apartment all of a sudden became very, very interesting.
Exactly. And we always kind of debated whether to go out into the country, or at least that's what I really wanted, out in the country or downtown.
Which is also partly why we stayed in that first apartment for 15 years, because we just couldn't really decide on where to move next, even though we wanted to move due to the traffic and such.
So we kind of ended up in this middle area that wasn't really I guess, for us.
Yeah.
So when we moved, or when we decided to sell that house and move back to the city that we're in now, we kind of debated whether to do house or apartment. So we took a good look on that.
Yeah, we actually looked at other houses back here in the city. So we did move to a much smaller city of around, was it like 50, 60,000 people?
Yeah.
And now we're back in Aarhus, which is closer to 300,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's not a big city, but for Scandinavian standards, it's a pretty decent city, and it's the second biggest city in Denmark, which also means like we have a decent theater. We have like everything you want culturally.
It's a big like students city. So it has a big campus. It has all of these things. So
and a lot of internationals as well.
Yeah, and it's the youngest city in Denmark, like average age. So it definitely has a lot more of the younger vibe. But what we decided was that, okay, we made the previous choice mostly based on rational, like pros and cons lists. And this one, we would allow ourselves to actually just do what would be our dream scenario and be brave and do that, even though it means living in an apartment with a kid, which is kind of a conscious choice when you choose to do that. And you were very surprised by that. You're like, wow, okay. You can't make every decision on pros and cons.
Yeah, because we did some real soul searching. We did a lot of pros and cons lists, and on paper we made the perfect rational choice. And I like to bring in the really good arguments and do pros and cons list when you are making the biggest decisions of your life, sort of like where to live, in a house, an apartment, and what cities to live in and such. So I was pretty surprised that we sort of made a choice that we wanted to redo after just 1 year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it feels good.
It feels really good to be back in the city. It sure does.
It does. Yeah, it does. And here we have museums, we have things to do. We make it a priority, as you guys know, to not have a busy life. So we have time to enjoy, to go to the parks, to go to the forest, to go walk around. We have some awesome museums in Aarhus. And just to do the cultural things and not have to drive to them, make it a big trip. So Max gets totally overwhelmed. We have yearly passes now to different places. So we just go for an hour, we go back, and it's like a good balance for us. We also have a market right up the street where we can buy fresh produce on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And that aligns very well with our values of buying local produce. We have the forest, like 1K down this way, there's a beach, and then we have the city right up here. It's a very quiet area. We did look specifically in this area because we knew that this is family friendly, not a lot of students, not a lot of parties, but very close to everything. Yeah, we love it.
And other thing we also wanted to make a change about was how much time we were spending in a car every day. Because in that old town, we would just drive to everything.
It's like perfect normal suburbia, where everything is close enough that it's convenient, but far enough that you don't really get on your bike. You get in the car as a default to go everywhere. Yeah. So we're spending so much time in that stupid car.
And here in the apartment here in Aarhus, we have everything close by. So Max's school is not that far off. We can actually walk there. And we decided to sell the car, something we're probably also going to talk more about here on the channel. And we bought a cargo bike. So we definitely spend way less time in a car, and we just joined a ride-sharing app, or two actually, so we can
book car sharing.
Yes, we can book a car whenever we need it. It's also something you can only do if you are in a decent-sized city. Smaller towns might not have available cars around the corner that you can just book with an app.
Yeah, and they're electric.
Yeah,
which is a pro.
Feels good.
Yeah,
also.
It's a good thing. So I think now we have the physical borders of our life. All of our life happens in a much smaller area than before.
We have
way more local.
Zero commuting time.
Yeah,
everything is close by.
But we feel like our life is bigger and fuller somehow, because we can add so many things in. And we just love culture and diversity, being surrounded by so many people
it
that
feels
do
like
fun things.
We have the world closer by because, as we said, there are a huge international community in this city that we are already well connected to.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was really surprised by was I thought if we were moving back up to the city here, that we would spend a lot of money or have a bigger expense to going to cafes and shopping in general because everything is closer by. But actually, I think the opposite happened because we really like being here, and just make your own coffee and taking a stroll around the neighborhood somehow fulfills me. So I don't have to go into the city or go up to the city and spend time in the car, spend gas, go to a restaurant, whatever.
Parking.
Necessarily. Yeah, definitely. So we have like 0 parking bills now, and also expense for parking. We sold the car.
Yeah. And the cargo bike, you just park it on the sidewalk, and you don't have to worry about it. You can always find space. We have everything close by.
Yeah, many times we'll just brew a good cup of coffee. I do a mean latte on my machine.
Yeah.
And then we'll just bring that and just take a walk around the city because we are already exactly where we would otherwise go visit.
Yeah. And we did downsize from the house. The house felt too big for us.
Yeah.
It was too many rooms. We thought that we needed or wanted these big, like, separate workspaces. And what we found was we spent the majority of our time, like, we like being together. So we spent most of our time in the living room anyway.
And Max would be like, "Where are you guys?"
Yeah,
he'd be in the basement looking for us, and we were maybe out on the terrace or whatever. It was just a bigger space.
So the apartment we had before was probably 750 to 800 square feet.
Yeah, so not like a huge house.
And then we moved to the house, which when the basement was included was probably 1,600 square feet, 700 maybe. Just too big. And now the apartment we have now is 103 square meters, which is 1,000 square feet approximately.
Yeah.
And it fits very well. We have 2 tiny bedrooms, but the living spaces are big and open, and we love it. We have a kitchen where we can cook and we can do all of these things and enjoy
and you've gotten
the
back
space.
to do some interior hacks and ideas. So Maria built a cool Murphy bed for Max.
Yeah.
And just some other cool ideas that we'll probably show you guys eventually here on the channel.
Yeah, we will definitely. Yeah, and that takes us to where we want this channel to go.
Yeah.
We definitely want to focus more on ideas for how you live still a simple life. We realized over the past years how hard it is to keep a hold on living a simpler life. And when we were in the house, I was like, why is life still not more easy or simple? And now for the first time, it feels like it is actually simpler. The commuting part made a huge difference.
Yeah, that was a huge differentiator.
Yeah, and driving, the amount of hours spent in the car. And you can make
Picking up Max, bringing Max, going for groceries, coming home, going to this city here to visit friends.
So just a lot of logistics.
A lot of logistics.
Yeah, and we don't have that as much anymore. We have like 30% of it now, maybe 20.
Yeah. We're also going to talk more about how to leave a smaller footprint and environmental stuff and just stuff that we think about and stuff that we are working on ourselves moving back here.
Trying to do more plant-based food. We're not going to go complete like vegan or vegetarian, but just trying to look into some of the world like goals and that how we as a human race should eat if it was to be sustainable. Driving, bikes, all that, like more sustainable lifestyle, because that's what we're very interested in. And living smaller just fits perfectly into that. So it will be a blend of different things still.
Yeah. And we're also working on crafting a newsletter around the blog. So if you go to GoDownsize.com, it's about a lot of things today. But on the front page, we will have a top section probably going to stay there about some of the, I would say, the best lifestyle-oriented content that goes across whether you're into building or tiny houses or some of the other stuff that we talk about on the site.
Yeah.
So we're going to do like probably a weekly newsletter with some stuff, and we're going to shoot some videos for some of these blog posts and some of the content that we're going to send out in these emails. So if you want to know whenever something comes up, of course you can subscribe to the channel here, but you can also now or soon subscribe to our newsletter on the blog.
And that's one change that we want to make, is that we still want to make videos, but we want them to be supporting an article about the topic. So we can go in deeper about things, so you can for sure follow us here on YouTube, but just know that the videos are going to be added like support. They're in a bigger context. So if you want the full experience, you should maybe go.
They'll probably be incorporated into a blog post or be a part of a content piece, you can say, that's partly video. Sometimes there'll be something around that in the blog post. So we'll probably mostly do videos that we want to embed into our content on the site. But again, as you said, you can of course also find it all here on YouTube if you're a video only person.
And if you have suggestions, you have ideas, are there things that you want us to answer, things you've been wondering about? We know that we've been MIA for a long time because of small kids, health things, COVID, moving twice. It's been a lot. The past years have been a little rough, and we have not had the bandwidth to do the videos. I'm sorry, but this is the plan.
So we're probably not gonna do like a weekly video schedule, but there'll be videos now and then. And we hope you will tag along.
So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when we do post. So you can follow us along.
And then there's the newsletter.
And hope you
be there eventually.
Exactly. Hope you subscribe to that. We'll put the link in this video when it's ready. So there'll be a link in the description when there's a newsletter. I think that's it for now. See you guys next time.
See you.
Bye.